of how we already create our physical reality experience, but we're doing it unconsciously. So he's saying, look, this is how you're doing it. Here's the instruction manual, laying it out for us. And he's saying, if you do this more consciously, then your physical reality can work to your advantage instead of being such a random thing, such a hit and miss thing where you don't know what you're doing and you don't know why things happen the way they happen. So there are basically 5 principles to the instruction manual. Number 1 is, and I can break this down a little bit later, but I'll just give you the whole run. Number 1 is you act on your highest passion, your highest excitement to the best you can. Take it as far as you can, number 2, until you can take it no further. Then you look for the next thing that contains more excitement, more passion than anything else, and you act on that next. Number 3, and here's the kicker that's really a challenge for a lot of people, you have to act on your passion with absolutely zero insistence, zero assumption as to what the outcome is going to be. Because the truth is, you have no idea what the best outcome is, even though your ego may think you do. Number 4, you remain in a positive state no matter what happens, no matter what manifests, because it's there for a reason. And if you stay in that positive state, you will get a benefit from it. Number 5, you examine your belief systems with honesty, and you let go of the fear-based ones and the negative ones. That's it. That's the entire formula. It comes with a set of tools, in a sense, that happen automatically. It becomes the driving engine of your life. It becomes the connecting principle. It becomes the synchronistic principle. It becomes the path of least resistance. It becomes the path that supports you. It becomes the reflective mirror that reveals to you anything you're holding on to that is out of alignment with your joy, out of alignment with that high frequency, so you can recognize it, deal with it, and let it go. It's a self-perpetuating, self-expanding concept. So he's saying that's the instruction manual, and he explains and breaks down why each of those steps works. But the idea he's saying is, look, if you receive an instruction manual to operate a piece of machinery, you don't add instructions to the manual. You don't subtract instructions from the manual. That's the instruction manual. And if you just follow the steps, the machine will work as advertised to your advantage. If you don't, the machine may work, but you could injure yourself. You don't know. So just follow the instructions and just understand them deeply, and then let them become second nature and just use them every day. And you will see that it'll snowball, and your life will be this experience of synchronicity and magic, basically. But he's saying that's how it works. We've given this, and it's not a philosophy. He's saying, look, we have just observed this is how reality works. It's no different than me saying to you, you know, what colors are in your top? Well, there's red, there's green, there's blue. That's not an opinion. I'm telling you what I see. He is saying, this instruction manual, we are telling you what we see. This is where we are in our evolution. We can see how reality works. We can actually see the structure. We're giving this to you as a gift. We're describing the structure so you don't have to go through everything to figure it out. You just have to learn to use it.
Us humans just can't quite digest the fact that we have the 5-step rule to life. We have to, there has to be more. We're meaning-making machines. Everything means something. Seek deeper. I would say this only happened in the last good few years that I've done more of it, but I was just talking to somebody the other day and I was like, I think the magic is just doing more of what stuff is really fun. The more I plan the fun in my life, the more the synchronicities. And I was like, my life is magic all the time. Like the things that I could never plan happen in my favor.
Exactly. And, you know, and it becomes almost laughable how synchronicity can just start expanding all over the place. I mean, a really great example for us is, you know, we come out of the film business, my wife and I, and there was somebody we wanted to narrate one of our movies. We didn't know him, a relatively well-known actor I'm not going to name. And we sent a letter to his agent. The next day, it's like a friend said, hey, you know, would you like to get together for lunch? He said, oh, sure. And she picked a restaurant I never go to. I walk into the restaurant, who's walking out? That actor. I mean, it's like out of a city of 7 million people, I find him the next day after we're trying to get in touch with him, right? Boom, right there. So that's how synchronous your life can be when you understand how things work and you're willing to actually apply it, things just happen, things just click, things come together because everything is connected. According to Bashar, everything is an orchestration, everything is synchronicity. We just don't see it. And we
Mhm.
complain about things like getting stuck in traffic. You don't know that you're not there for a reason. How do you know that if you were sailing along at 65 miles an hour, you wouldn't have gotten into an accident in 5 miles? Being stuck in traffic saved your life. How do you know that you're not sitting across from someone in the next car who needs to be in that traffic and you're helping him be there? Because now something's going to happen to him. He's going to realize something and he had the time to do it. It's all an orchestration. You don't always have to know why, but it's all an orchestration.
It reminds me of one of my favorite books, The Alchemist, and it was kind of essentially like the takeaway. I think everyone's takeaway from the book is slightly different based on whatever their life experience is and what they need to learn. And of course, as you read it, over time, you'll read a different story because you change. But the story that I read was just that this boy needed to get from A to B, and you think that this is the fastest way. Like, this seems the fastest way, but he had to go all over to get to here. And it was still the fastest way because he needed all these experiences to be able to accept point B, the destination. Otherwise, it would have meant nothing. He wouldn't have been able to even do it right.
Bashar says that all the time. He says it may be a longer path, but it's a faster path because it's your path. And if it's not your path, it's going to slow you down, even if it looks like it's straight. You're going to crawl along that path if it's not.
Yeah.
They need those things, those detours. Those are things that you pick up on the way. Like you said, you have more appreciation of where you wind up because of that. So that's exactly, Bashar talks about that all the time.
How much of this experience is free will versus determinism, and how much of it we're actually getting? You say that we can change soul families even. So what is it that we lock ourselves into in this reality?
What we lock ourselves into is a kind of a hallway. You are the Danica hallway. I'm the Darryl hallway. I can't change that hallway. How I walk down that hall, I can change. You can change. We can run, we can fly, we can crawl, we can be happy, we can be sad, we can look in every doorway, we can ignore them all. We can go backwards, we can go forwards, we can go up, we can go down. But we do it as Danica. We do it as Darryl. That's our commitment. That's our destiny. We've decided that from a higher level. So it's still a choice. It's still a free will choice from the higher level to have this experience as this personality. But how you do it, you have a lot of free will. You can resist it. You can flow with it. Happy, sad, whatever you want.
Is there a fundamental lesson in this life, or is it, the hallway? What is the hallway? Is it you're here to learn forgiveness, or you're here to learn how to love yourself, or what is the hall?
Well, it could be all of those. In other words, we have themes. And basically, it said, if you want to know what your themes are, what are the biggest challenges that come up for you in life? Those are your themes. So it's transforming things. It's transforming from negative to positive. It's transforming from darkness to light. It's transforming from limitation to freedom. He has a nickname for us. He calls us the masters of limitation because we have so many ways of limiting ourselves, but we can use them to our benefit because limitations can be a positive thing. The inflection tells you everything because he says what you're learning to do fundamentally is go from being masters of limitation to being masters of limitation so that you can use limitation to your advantage.
Because awareness of the limitation.
Yeah, when you know what the rules are, you're actually quite free. So the idea is, how do I go beyond that? How do I transform that? How do I become more of who I am in a new way, in a different way? What am I learning? How am I growing? Basically, to him, the process is the whole point of being in physical reality. Because in a non-physical reality, you're kind of in a timeless space. You can be anywhere, anytime, at anything, and nothing really changes in the same way. So imposing a part of your consciousness with a space-time framework allows you to forget, like I said, who you are, so you can rediscover who you are from a new, fresh perspective, a new point of view. And that adds to who you are as a soul.
Can we decide to just not come back into this reality? Can we take a break and go do something else for a while where
Absolutely, especially now that we know that that's possible. There's a lot of research in things like near-death experiences where we're sort of finding out the lay of the land on the other side from what they bring back.
yeah.
So yeah, there seem to be really the freedom to choose is there as well, and maybe even more so. I've even heard of cases where people say, you can die here and you can choose to continue the same life like you didn't die in a parallel reality. So it's like, oh, how did I get out of that accident without dying? Well, you didn't, but you decided you have a continuation of what seems to be the same life, but isn't in a parallel reality. So there's, yeah, we can come back, we can go on, we can basically do anything. We're free to choose. In fact, Bashar has always said, your greatest power is the freedom to choose.